Appreciate you being here tonight, though, especially so that can kind of Shanda's in here and Matt's in here. So Matt and Shanda, this is Neil. Neil's from the other Edward Jones, and I think very shortly into the conversation, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, Heather did good. This is good." I was very impressed when I walked in the door, and just right from the moment I walked in, the young lady at the door greeted me as, "Hey Rob, they're ready for you back there." I never met her in my life. So, just the knowledge and the preparation coming in the door of knowing who's coming and that kind of thing. Not a, you know, very all the way through the conversation with Neil and everything. So
Thank you very much. We strive for the family environment. We don't like the
yeah,
corporate America stuff.
came off that way, that's for sure. Came off good. Very impressed. So um if you do you think, Heather, you want to just start and then Robin could catch up to this portion? I mean, I'm basically like from the moment we say, okay, we're going, that's where I'll start our
Okay.
video. So I think we're probably good. If you guys think we're good, just go ahead and start. And if she pops in, I'll add her.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, then I'm gonna mute and I'm gonna basically let Heather and Neil kind of run through, if that's okay with you. Is that good with you, Heather?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to
You're gonna defer to Neil?
yeah, well, yeah, because I really, unless you want me to go ahead and tee it up for you with
Yeah.
why don't I do that?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. Do we have anybody coming in? No.
On
Okay.
my end, no.
Okay. Um, we have Neil Miller with us tonight from Edward Jones, and we have invited him on our Zoom this evening that is going to be recorded for the neighborhood. So if you missed it during the original, you can certainly catch it on the recorded version. But I thought it was going to be valuable to have Neil come on since our Edwards Jones account this last year, we had a CD that came due in February. And at that time, it just made sense to separate our reserve accounts back to the townhouse accounts and common fund accounts. Previous to February, when Neil and I sat down last year, the funds were combined. And even though we knew the percentage of them, it really wasn't that clear how much of the interest was going to townhouse, how much was going to common fund, and just really having a clear picture of that, not just for the board, but for us to be able to at any time let the community be aware of it. So to separate those accounts back, Neil was really very helpful with how to take the correct percentage of the townhouse funds and the common funds, split them so that it was fair, and then reinvest those funds back into additional, I guess, CDs and what do you investment account, different investment accounts. I'll let Neil kind
Mhm.
of share what those are. And then we also put some in cash as well because we had approximately, let's see, $120,000 that we're going to be using this spring for the townhomes out of that reserve for three building roofs that were done, and then all new painting, and then let's see, trees. We had some trees taken out. So that all came to, excuse me, 120,000 in expenses that came out of the townhouse reserve funds. We also had new pool furniture that was coming out of the common and some other additional expenses for the pool before it opens here in May. So we just wanted to go ahead and move those to a money market so that we could access that cash a little bit quicker. And then the rest of it's going to be available in succession periods so that if at any time we need to have funds for needed repairs for the townhouse or for the common fund, we still have access to some of those funds as well without having to pull it out of any of the investment accounts. So with that, Neil, I'll go ahead and turn it over. And if you can maybe just explain where we started at and then where we got to where we're at.
Okay. So my name's Neil Miller. Thank you very much for allowing me to come and be a part of your board this evening to introduce myself as well as so y'all can see a name to a face. just a little bit about me. I'm real big, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, is family style. I'm big on education and knowledge and providing data and having data drive us because the market changes. Um, so if anything ever pops up question wise, please feel free send the questions to Rob, Heather, and they can get in touch with me, or you can get in touch with me yourself, and I don't mind answering. Right now, during time periods like these, there's always a time to take advantage. I work with multiple HOAs, so this is fun when I got to meet with Rob and Heather. I came into the Edward Jones office in October and started working with y'all then. We originally started, as Heather mentioned, where everything was combined and where it was mainly in money markets and CDs. After meeting with them, I'm real big on taking advantage of the current environment. So right now, with the Fed rates still not cutting yet until near the end of the year, money market rates are around 4.2 to 4.3, and CDs are around 4.2 to 4.3. We took it with the CD maturing, we thought it would be a good time to go ahead and split the accounts back to where everyone's still equal, what I would call an 80-20, 80% in cash liquid getting 4.2 or more in the money market piece or the CDs piece. And then the investment side, just to make sure we're taking advantage of the rate of returns. Because last year the market was 20%. This year we're looking at the market potentially being around 11% return. We have about 20% into the mutual funds and ETFs to where we're still conscious, but we're trying to get a better return. Because as I was mentioning earlier to Rob, around June or July, when the Fed decides to make a cut, that means money market rates will come down. And this will still allow us to always get over 3% as best as we can, which is what inflation is. And that means your dollar will be a dollar when you need it. We keep everything liquid. And then when it comes to fees, because I'm real big on transparency, just like I was with Rod and Heather, on the money markets and CDs, you don't pay a fee. That's paid by the banks and that we use. And then on the investment account, it's a 1% fee. I ended up discounting 20%. So that way you can have a face and a name and still pay around 1% or less. Does does that answer your questions, Heather? Is there anything else you want me to provide? You want me to provide account numbers? I'm not account numbers,
No,
but
no,
amounts.
no, not,
Okay.
the accounts are not necessary. If you would like to, or I have the figures as far as where our current, um, accounts are at. I have our year end. Of course, we just talked about that today. Our year end for 2024, just to let everyone know where it finished. Actually, in 2024, we had between the CDs that cashed out in July, which were nearly 29,000. And then with Edwards Jones that cashed out of 12, a little over 12,000, we had 41,736 in interest for our reserve accounts between the townhouse and the common funds for 2024. Just to separate that down, it was 11,000 115 for townhouse and 30,621 for common funds, which was really good. From that standpoint, then from December 31st until where we're at now in March, um, let's see, I've got those figures too I can give off because I have the handy dandy little app that Neil set me up on, which gives me our figures at any given moment. So, of course, they are separated. In our, let's see, we call it cash, but that would be our CDR investment, I guess, account.
Mhm.
536,878. Also in common, which is our available accessed. No, I'm going to get it right. It's our paid account, right? 73,782. So combined, right over 600,000. We did take some funds out already for the pool, I think 13,000 for that. And we'll be taking out another 13,000 here in a couple more months. Our townhouse cash, which is also our long-term CDs, right? Our CDs
Hmm.
cash.
CDs and money
Getting
markets.
this. I'm getting this. I'm getting closer anyhow. It is let's see, 114,399.50. And our townhouse paid account, which is going to be the investment accounts that we're paying Neil to manage, is 54,085. So that's where they're currently at this very moment. I'm really excited to get those separated again, and I think it's just going to be so much more clear for the entire neighborhood. Neil, you've been absolutely fantastic to work with. You return calls, emails, texts almost immediately. I really get the feeling like you're not handling any other clients other than just us, which is um, kind of
That's
service.
what we want. Hmm.
You don't see that kind of service very often. So I've been very appreciative for it.
Thank you.
Let's see, I know I've gotten a couple texts. Rob, have you been, you got, oh, Robin's in. Okay, good. All
Are
right.
there any questions from the other board members? Because I know I've been speaking with Heather and Rob extensively, but I don't mind answering questions. I don't run from questions.
I have a question, and it was, gosh, it was a discussion that we just had, several months ago about the interest in the accounts. And I think, Heather, I don't know if you can recall it. We were asking if any of the investments where we have to pay interest, pay taxes on the interest, if in those investments, if they aren't already, could be in municipal bonds, something tax free, where we would have little or less tax liability.
Yes. Yes. If that's what the community wants to do, we can set up for municipal bonds in the investment side, which will help the tax liability. Um, you would, when it comes to the money markets, similar to a
Mhm,
savings account, they will pay. There's no municipal bonds for or municipals for money markets. We can look
mhm,
at municipal bonds instead of CDs if the rates allow it.
mhm.
And that's something that where I can give y'all the data and y'all can decide which way y'all want to go. But on the investment accounts, we can switch to municipal bonds.
Okay.
That's not an issue.
Okay. That's a whole discussion. I just want to know if it was
Mhm.
available.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
there a difference in interest rate than if we were to do that, Neil, or what is the, I guess, the downside to just having everything set up that way to begin with, where it's tax free and
On the municipal bonds, you get usually less than right now. The municipal bonds are running at 3.4 or less, sometimes between two. So when you do that, you know you're giving up taxes, but you also know that you're giving up that your dollar would not be a dollar when it finishes because it needs to at least get three. Right now, inflation is at 3.4. As inflation comes
Mhm.
down, it'll get back down to the three range. On the municipal bond funds in the investment side, there's not really a big difference. You're looking at about a 0.5% on the municipal bond fund side. So it does make sense to do the CDs and money markets on the investment side for my recommendation. But then if you
Mhm.
wanted to switch on the investment side and focus on your regular returns in the equity side and then turn around
Mhm.
and use municipal bond funds to help offset some of those, that's similar to what I'll be doing with the tax harvesting piece to help offset any capital gains. But that's what, to me, that's a good strategy if that's preferred.
Okay.
thank you, Robin. That was great. I'd actually forgot about that conversation that we had had, so I appreciate that.
Well, I'm all taxed. I don't know much else.
Well, I'm
Thank
learning.
you, Neil.
Not a problem. And I can get with Heather and Rob and give you kind of projections on what a tax sensitive full account will look like compared to just growth and municipal bond funds, just to give you options.
Okay.
All right. Was there any other
Yeah, I was gonna
questions?
say Matt or Shanda, have you guys got any? This is obviously Neil's very available to us, so if you think of something later, but if you had anything else that you thought would be even if you just want to throw a gotcha question at him and see what he does, I think, did you guys talk about, I know one of the things that I asked Neil was, how do you make your money? Because I think that's one of the things
Hmm.
that people ask. And I was half paying attention because I'm doing 15 other things, but was that something we talked about already, or is that something that you could throw out there to kind of
I
put people's
mentioned it.
minds?
I
Did you?
mentioned it, but I can say it again. So the way Edward Jones makes our money is when we use CDs and money markets, we make it through the banks that we purchase from. They pay on your behalf for us using their money markets or CDs. And then on the investment account, it's paid out of the account, not additional transactions. And we've discounted it to where it's normally 1.4, we've discounted it to 1%. And that's to me something I do and up to my discretion, and I do for all my nonprofits and HOAs.
Thank you, Neil. And I see John is on, and I want to just publicly thank John because he had helped just give a little bit of advice and direction here for when we went in and spoke with you, Neil, just about asking about the paid accounts and
Hmm.
the index. And um, I don't know anything about that. I'm learning, and
And
John was very influential with that. So thank you, John.
I did want to give a little bit of clarity. That 1% is on the for a year. That's not per month. That's 1% on the account value for the year. So for example, a $5,000 account with a discount pays $50 for the year, just to give an idea.
And I think the more we had in the account, the less that fee is that
Yep.
correct?
The more we add to the account, we hit price break points to where we can eventually get all the way down to like 0.6 and 0.4.
Cool.
No questions
Any-
from me, just lots of good information. I appreciate it.
So
I've
we
been
picked
very
some
impressed at how,
index funds there.
well,
Sorry, I was a few minutes late getting in. I missed the first part. Hey, Rob.
Hey,
Oh,
John.
Heather, Chandra, Matt.
We are recording this tonight, so that I think it was probably 15 minutes of conversation, and I'll make sure that that's posted up so everybody will have a chance to kind of look through. And then if anybody pops up with a question from watching the video, if you're watching this now in the future, and you're like, "Well, I got a question for that guy," shoot it over. I've zero concern that we can get a very clear answer from Neil, and I'll speak for you, Neil, that I'm sure if I said, "Hey, Neil, would you come back for another meeting? We had like 20 questions," he'd be like, "Let's do it." So.
Yep. I am very open to talk about current market, come back and talk about how people can take advantage and just talk about the board and everything. It doesn't matter to me. To me, knowledge is power and I'm here to spread it.
Cool.
Cool stuff then.
Well, if there's anything else financial that you want to hold on to Neil for, or are we gonna tell him to go have a nice evening? Heather, do you have anything else on that side of it?
no, but I just also did want to just leave with one last comment is that Neil works with many HOAs, so he's very familiar with the process and the combination of townhouse and single family. So I gathered a lot of confidence just with his experience and who he's worked with and how he's worked with us so far. So thank you again so much for joining us, Neil.
Thank you. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all have a good evening.
Bye.
Good night.